I'm set against it because I don't want my personal information being put anywhere where it can be obtained to be used against me or to send me stuff I don't want. You get it on the internet all the time, and try to keep my private life private.
I have quite mixed feelings about it because on the one hand it can benefit me in terms of getting better deals and things and actually being perhaps shown things that I'm interested in that I didn't realise existed. But on the other hand, it feels quite invasive.
I think I choose who I would give my information to. So if I know I shop one place and I shop there a lot, I'm more likely to have a loyalty card or a credit card there. And whereas some places ask me and I don't want them because I don't shop and I can't see the value of them having my details.
Well, it does make me feel slightly harassed, too much literature coming through my post.
It depends how they collect it. It depends what information it is. They need to have some information, but as long as I know they're doing it.
I'm all for it if it's a retailer that I would sort of normally shop with and sort of actually engage. Like, I'm less bothered about, say, Rocky Horrors collecting my data than I would be Tesco or Boots or something like that collecting my data. If I saw them as responsible, I guess, and had an actual interest rather than a passing interest in their products, I'm fine with it.
I think it's wrong on the whole. I think that too much information is being held, too much personal information is being held about people that they're not always that sure about what's actually being held. I think it should, if they are actually going to hold something, it should be very clear and obvious from the off what they've got and why.
I do like offers, so it doesn't really bother me so much. You know, I'm open to the idea of it, as long as they're not sharing it with other companies.
I think, well, there is a general database, isn't that people have access to anyway, so I don't think it'll make any difference, to be honest. The only problem with that is that you get more things through your post box than you get already.
I think it could be seen as being quite invidious because they are taking advantage of decisions that you might make off the hoof about things that you want to buy. They could then use that incorrectly. For example, if you use eBay, if you want to buy something daft on eBay for a stag do, for example, and I might be speaking from personal experience, and then the next thing, eBay sends you email after email after email saying, do you want to buy this, do you want to buy that, do you want to, and you think, well, that's got absolutely no relevance at all to do with me, but that's kind of very annoying. So on the other hand, it can be quite useful because you get to see things that you might not have ordinarily seen and want to, or recognise that you want to purchase. So it's two sides to a coin.
I think it depends what it is, to be honest. If it's something that I actually might like to purchase anyway, I don't think there's any problem with that. I think they're going to collect my data to then sell on. I don't really think that's very nice.
I'm not too keen on it, to be honest, because you don't know where it's going to go.
I think it's totally wrong if they're going to then pass it on and sell it on to other people. I can never understand when you purchase something, you want to return it, that they want your personal details, and it annoys me. It really annoys me.
Not too happy about it. Not too happy about it at all, because it's personal information that's getting kept on a computer that I don't know what's happening with.
Well, I won't, loyalty cards or anything like that. I don't join up with those because I think that's a way of them finding out how you spend, when you spend, what you buy, where you buy. So I won't, and I don't agree with that. I don't want them knowing when I'm going to a shop and what I spend and what I buy.
To some extent I object to it because quite often you find you've given some information thinking that it's going to remain with that company. More often than not it doesn't, and there's usually telltale signs as to where some other company has got your information from.
I don't like it, but I ignore most of it anyway. I know in a commercial world people have to make money and that's how they do things. But I'm very careful on the internet, and I usually tick the boxes that say no further information.
I think it's quite handy actually, because they want to know what their consumers want to buy at the end of the day, and by getting them more information, they'll have a better idea of what their products and who it's going to attract, what it's all about, really.
Well, I get annoyed that I would be approached in a way other than when I go shopping, when I want to go shopping and when I choose to shop for things I want to shop for. Because I'm very much an anti-online shopping person, because I prefer to deal with people on a one-to-one basis. So I don't like the fact that once you've bought something, they want to try and sell you everything else.
Yeah, I don't like them having my information. I like to buy things and then that's it. I don't want them coming after me with other offers and such like.
Not particularly. I don't. It doesn't bother me, so I don't shop thinking that it's going to be known. But it's just having the awareness that it is happening.
I would rather they didn't, but I suppose it's not something I feel massively strongly about, because we're in an information world and we're all trying to get information out to people and looking for ways to do it. So it's one of those hard ones. But yeah, I don't know. I selectively choose who I give my details to.
Well, it does make me feel slightly harassed, too much literature coming through my post.
If it was without the knowledge, then I would not use them.
It's a little bit uneasy, to be honest, because you don't really know how much information somebody's got on you, and they're often selling this information to dubious sources. I mean, that's where most of the like telephone scam people get their information from. It's slightly outdated databases that they bought from somebody cheap.
Sharing, I wouldn't like it. Which I know it goes on, but I don't like that.
It doesn't really bother me. You know, if I want to look at it, I look at it, and if I don't, I'll bin it.
I would prefer it if it didn't happen, to be truthful. It doesn't really make us feel angry or annoyed or upset. I don't have any strong views on it, but I would prefer it if it didn't happen.
I probably wouldn't like it. I don't like junk emails, I don't like junk mail, so I wouldn't want somebody to particularly transfer my data to a third party. But if they were going to send me something because I fit some kind of criteria of something that might be coming up available, I'm fine with that.
It annoys me. They don't want my personal details for me to buy something, yet if I wish to return it, they want the personal details, and I don't think they've the right to know that. No.
Quite insecure, actually, because they could use it in any way that they wanted to. Yeah, I'm not happy about it, but it happens, but yeah, it's not good.
Annoyed. It annoys me sometimes when you go into a shop and they say to you, have you joined up, do you want a loyalty card? You can do it by, what email or whatever, and say no thanks. And then they might even say to you, oh, well, can I ask you why you don't? And I think, well, because I don't want you watching me, knowing what I'm spending, what I'm buying and everything else. So no, I don't agree with that. I don't like it.
It's like an invasion of your privacy and an invasion of your trust.
I think that at the end of the day they've got a business to run, haven't they? They've got a job to do. So I think if they need to collect that information to make them a more efficient business, I have no issues with that. I think like when I say as long as they use it responsibly, the only things that kind of bother me is if they pass that information on to other people that can then contact you, cold call you. I find that quite frustrating, but that's my only issue with it really.
I know in a commercial world people have to make money and that's how they do things. But I'm very careful on the internet, and I usually tick the boxes that say no further information, but it doesn't bother me.
I'm not fussed, to be honest.
There can be arguments made for both ways, can't there? But I don't know, it can be annoying if you're getting emails off people that you don't get emails off. But I don't know, it's not bothered me, but I can understand people arguing against it.
A number rather than a person. Yeah. Anonymous, almost. Yeah, I think gives you a lot of anonymity, even though they actually know a lot about you. It's a funny thing. It's a bit like being lonely in a crowd. Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah.
I don't think it would bother me enough to change what I was doing. I think the convenience of where I shop would be more important than whether or not they were holding my data.
No, depends on what I wanted to buy. So I ignore it as much as possible.
Probably more likely, yeah.
Less likely. So if you know that somebody is buying information or storing a lot of information without really asking, it's a bit of a dubious thing to start with, and I'd rather spend money elsewhere, to be honest.
Depends on the nature of the product and the time that frame that I needed the product within, but obviously it would deter me from shopping with them, but I wouldn't necessarily rule it out because I don't know, there's advantages and disadvantages to both.
Depends how good their advertising was.
Less likely, but it wouldn't make a huge, amount of difference to us. It would have a very slight bearing on it, but if they're putting on a better deal than the next retailer, then I'd still go with them.
I think when something like this first starts happening, I would probably want to change the way. But if it helps people with business, I think everybody will start to do it. And I think in modern society, it's something we just have to deal with.
Probably more likely to change depending on which retailers and what the way that they was using my information. If they were open and honest about what it was for, but if it was just marketing purposes, then yeah, I'd be not too happy to stay shopping there now.
Well, I won't give them my information anyway, so I just go in and buy what I want and don't allow them to access it or for me to give them any information about me and my spending habits and how I spend and what I buy and when I buy it and how much and what products I do buy.
I have done. Wallace did that with me, and it was very obvious because they had a spelling mistake in some part of my information, of my address, that was replicated in certain things I was getting through my letterbox. So I tend to give Wallace a bit of a wide berth now.
I think depending on how they behaved, I think if I was unhappy with the way a retailer behaved in any way, then yeah, I'd be very much prepared to vote with my feet, yeah.
I really wouldn't be fussed, honestly. As long as at the end of the day, I want to buy their products because it's catered towards me, so I want them to get as much information about me anyway, so that it matches what I need.
I probably ignore most of the things that come to me, so probably wouldn't worry me. If they've used online approaches, I tend to just delete anything that comes that I'm not familiar with.